I opened my dream restaurant and invited my entire family to the grand opening. Not one of them showed up. Instead, they all attended Ezra's promotion party, a backyard barbecue with plastic chairs and lukewarm beer, while I waited alone in a beautifully designed dining room. As I closed up for the night, wiping down untouched tables and folding napkins no one had used, Dad finally texted, "We need to discuss the restaurant." My name is Juliet Martin. I'm 34. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. What do you do when the people you've shared your dreams with show up only when there's something left to eat? The kitchen still smelled like garlic and rosemary. The handwritten menu cards I'd spent hours designing were stacked neatly at the host stand. And the playlist, the one I made from songs that reminded me of my childhood, kept looping through empty speakers. I stared at my phone. No calls. No, "Sorry, we're running late." No flowers, not even from Mom. Just Ezra's Instagram story. Promotion party vibes with a bottle of popping cork. My entire family was in the background, laughing, dancing, and holding a cake that said, "To bigger things." I had built something from scratch. They didn't just miss it, they ignored it. So when Dad texted, I didn't ask what he wanted to discuss. I knew he was worried about the money he thought he was owed. The family tab. The unspoken discount he assumed he was entitled to just for sharing my last name. I stared at the screen for a moment, then typed a single sentence that would change everything. Effective immediately, the restaurant is closed to all family. No reservations, no discounts, no exceptions. 20 minutes later, my phone lit up. 19 missed calls and one knock at the back kitchen door. It was Ezra. Of course it was. He stood there in his tailored blazer, smelling of too much cologne and not enough guilt. In his hand, a box of leftover cake. "Figured you'd want a slice," he said, attempting a smile like nothing had happened. I didn't answer. I didn't move. "Look, Jules," he went on, "we didn't think the opening was that big of a deal. Dad said it was just soft launch vibes." I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me. "You went to his party, Ezra, not mine. I sent hand-delivered bites. I texted Mom 3 times. I made your favorite lemon tart, and it sat untouched for 5 hours." He looked down at the cake. "People got busy." "No," I said, sharp but calm. "People got lazy. They thought it'd always be the backup plan." I walked past him, throwing the trash bag I had been carrying into the dumpster. "Jules, come on, it's not that deep." But it was. It had always been deep. From the way Dad introduced me as the artsy one, to how Mom constantly compared my restaurant dream to Ezra's marketing job. They wanted me to stay small, so they wouldn't have to explain me. Ezra followed me back to the door. "I think Dad wants to invest now. He sees potential. He asked me to talk to you." There it was. The real reason. Not guilt, not support, just business. Tell Dad the restaurant's fully funded, and the investor bought exclusive rights to my loyalty. Ezra blinked. "What does that mean?" I smiled. "It means you're late, and I don't do leftovers." I walked back inside and locked the door behind me. On the other side, I heard him breathing and then walking away. The next day, I changed the locks. Not just at the restaurant, but at my apartment too. I had spent years letting my family treat my space like a revolving door. "Jules, we need a place to crash. Can we store this here for a few weeks? Can I borrow your car just till Monday?" And every time, I'd say yes because saying no made me feel selfish. Because somewhere deep down, I thought being useful was the same as being loved. But love doesn't flake on your life's biggest moment. Love doesn't shrug off your invitations. Love shows up. So I made it official. A sign on the restaurant door read, "Dear customers, due to overwhelming support, we're transitioning to reservations only. No walk-ins accepted even if we share DNA." By noon, it was on local foodie blogs. By evening, it went viral. The photo of me in my white apron, arms crossed, standing in front of that handwritten sign struck a nerve. Comments flooded in. This woman is my hero. Boundaries taste better than betrayal. Tell Ezra to eat a slice of humble pie. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed nonstop. Mom called 5 times and left one voicemail. Juliet, this is childish. We're family. We made a mistake, but this public tantrum is making things worse. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the front door to a couple holding hands, tourists from Georgia. We saw you online, the woman smiled. We canceled our other reservation just to eat here. As I led them to their table, I caught my reflection in the front window. I didn't look bitter. I didn't look angry. I looked free. And behind me, the restaurant buzzed with laughter, clinking forks, and second chances I chose, ones I wasn't forced to give. 2 days later, Dad showed up. Not at the restaurant. He wouldn't risk the cameras or another headline. He came to my apartment. I opened the door. Let's be adults about this, he said. I watched him from the peephole, suit jacket slightly wrinkled, eyes tired. He looked like a man losing control of a story he had written. I'll be brief, he added. Your mother's upset. Ezra's confused. We all are. I opened the door, but didn't step aside. You want to talk? Talk right here. He sighed. This is ridiculous. We're not enemies. No, you're just people who forgot I exist unless I'm footing the bill or cooking the meal. He flinched. I was going to help you, he said quietly. I was looking into some financing. You mean you wanted equity? I replied. Control? Dad's face hardened. Don't be paranoid. I pulled out the manila envelope that had been waiting on the console behind me. Here's the deed. The restaurant is solely in my name. The LLC, the patents, the recipes, all mine. He blinked. You got a lawyer? I got a team, I said. Funny what happens when you stop waiting for permission to shine. Dad looked down and muttered, We just wanted you to succeed. No, you wanted me to bend. Manageable. He didn't respond. Before he left, he turned and said, This will come back to bite you, Jules. You're burning bridges. I nodded calmly. Then I guess I'll learn to swim. I shut the door, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I needed their name to succeed, because mine, Juliet Martin, was finally worth something. By that night, I had 12 new reservation requests and one message from Ezra. They're planning something. Be careful. I didn't flinch. Let them plan. So was I. The first sign was a bad Yelp review. Then 2. Then 6. Within an hour. All within an hour. Each one eerily similar. Food was cold. Staff was rude. Owners stared at us like we didn't belong. The only problem, none of those names were in the reservation log, and we never had cold food. I knew what this was. Ezra's message echoed in my head. They're planning something, a smear campaign. 1-star warfare, the kind of digital vandalism that doesn't leave fingerprints, just poison. I didn't panic. I prepared. I called my lawyer. Then I reached out to one of my regulars, a journalist from a local paper who had once written a glowing piece titled The Restaurant with a Soul. I think someone's targeting you, she said after reading the reviews. Want to go on record? I said yes. By morning, the article was out. Beneath the apron strings, how a rising star chef fought back against family sabotage. It wasn't revenge, it was truth. The piece included screenshots, dates, contradictions, even a quote from a staff member who said, her dad came in last week and threatened to buy out her lease if she didn't come to her senses. By noon, the story had legs. Comments poured in again, this time from people defending me. Imagine being this threatened by your daughter's success. Families like this create warriors. She's not the black sheep. She's the phoenix. That night, a woman walked into the restaurant and whispered, they tried to break you, but I came here to tip you $1,000 just for standing up. I cried in the walk-in fridge, not out of weakness, but relief, because for once, I wasn't alone. The world had seen what they did, and they chose me. You said the next move wasn't mine. It was Ezra's fiancée, Natalie. She showed up during closing hours, No reservation, just a fragile smile and a trembling phone in her hand. "Can I talk to you? Please, just a minute?" I almost said no, but something in her eyes, maybe guilt, held me still. She sat across from me in the last booth by the window, her hands wrapped tight around a coffee cup I hadn't poured yet. She didn't know. She whispered. I didn't know how far they were going. I stayed quiet. They created a WhatsApp group. Your mom, Ezra, your Aunt Linda, even your cousin Mark. It was called Project Reset. The plan was to pressure you into selling the restaurant or force you to fail. I didn't flinch. I already knew. Natalie continued, her voice cracking. Ezra said they were just trying to bring you back to reality. But after the article went viral, they turned on each other. Your mom blamed Ezra. Ezra blamed your dad. It's chaos now. I leaned back, watching her. Why are you telling me this? She looked ashamed. Because they dragged me into it, and because I don't want to marry someone who treats his sister like that. She slid her phone across the table. Screenshots, messages, voice notes, proof. I stared at them. Names, dates, plans. Natalie cleared her throat. If you want to go public, you have my blessing. I didn't respond. Not yet. Because revenge wasn't about noise. It was about timing. And this wasn't about getting even. This was about getting free. I looked her in the eye. Thank you, I said. You just gave me everything I needed. And I meant it. Sometimes the last card you need comes from someone ready to leave the table. The headlines hit at 9:12 a.m. Chef Juliette Martin's family caught plotting to sabotage her career. Leaked messages confirm. I hadn't spoken to any press. I didn't need to. Natalie leaked the messages herself, posting them with a simple caption. I won't be marrying into this family. It exploded. Screenshots from the Project Reset group chat painted the full picture. She's too full of herself. Pull the plug on her supplier discount. Make her beg to come back. The public backlash was instant. Supporters of the restaurant flooded social media with #StandWithJuliette. People who had been silent before, old friends, high school classmates, even past coworkers, all spoke up. She was always the one carrying everyone. They used her until she had nothing left. This is why she shines. She fought alone. By noon, my reservation list was booked out for 6 weeks. At 2 p.m., my landlord called. Juliette, I'm extending your lease 5 years, rent locked. You're the pride of this street. At 3:17 p.m., Ezra texted, I didn't know Mom saved that stuff. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. I was prepping dinner service, folding napkins, tasting sauce, fixing a crooked picture on the wall. At 5 p.m., a woman walked in wearing a navy blazer and red lipstick. I'm from the Food Chronicle. We're doing a feature, 10 chefs who survived the fire. You're the cover. I blinked. Cover? She smiled. You're not just a chef. You're a revolution. That night, after the last dish was plated and the lights dimmed, I stood in the empty dining room barefoot, wine glass in hand. The air wasn't heavy anymore. It was clean. And tomorrow, I'd start planning something even bigger. Because the best revenge wasn't survival. It was success seasoned with silence. The invitation arrived exactly 1 year later. Gold foil, scripted lettering, sealed with a crest I knew too well. You are cordially invited to Ezra and Marlene's engagement brunch. I laughed. The same family who once locked me out of celebrations was now asking me to join their curated photo op, likely hoping I'd post something positive to help their image. I placed the invite in the blender. Then I opened my laptop and finalized the deal I'd been negotiating for months. Juliette's Table, my second location. This one was in a historic brick building downtown. Exposed beams, rooftop garden, a kitchen twice the size of the first. I'd hired my staff from overlooked places, culinary grads with no connections, single moms rebuilding, quiet dreamers who never got a chance. We built something sacred, not just a restaurant, but a space where dignity was on the menu. As I stepped outside for the ribbon cutting, a crowd had gathered. The same journalist who had written the first article was there, mic in hand. "What would you say to your family now?" she asked. I smiled slow and soft. Nothing. They'd ask for explanations, apologies, second chances. I gave them silence because they never needed answers. They needed accountability. And I had nothing left to prove. Later that evening, I stood inside the new kitchen, apron dusted with flour, hands in dough. My staff buzzed behind me. Laughter, chopping, the low hum of hope. Then came the moment that marked everything. A woman walked in alone, nervous. "I saw your story. My daughter wants to be a chef. She's afraid she won't be good enough." I handed her a menu. "Tell her this. They said the same to me."